can't it just be 78 cards and then you just learn all of them and that should be enough, right? Hey everybody, welcome back. Do you like my 90s dad shirt? It's not a floral print, it's leaves. Yeah, fauna print. Today I want to talk some more about my favorite deck, the Triomphe de la Luna Paradoxical by Patrick Valenza. This is the Marseille version, Patrick Valenza from Deviant Moon. There's a reason I think this deck keeps giving and keeps having this really fresh energy, and I kind of want to start a discussion about it, see what you guys think. Also, this is not a hairstyle, but this is also not a beauty channel, so gotta live with it. I love this deck, obviously. And yesterday I pulled the Devil. This is Miss Wormtail this is the current Devil that I have in the deck. This deck by now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 alternate Devil cards. Because I put in the Triomphe illustrated Devils in this deck, not in the deck as in I don't shuffle 100 something cards. I still work with 78 cards, but I have them, like all the alternate cards, I have them at all times in the bottom of this tarot box, right? And then the ribbon, and then the cards I actually work with. That's kind of my system. The reason I think this deck just never disappoints and never gets boring is because I can switch up cards, or it's one of the reasons. I mean, first of all, of course, Patrick Valenza's work, I absolutely love it. Just this type of pip cards, you know, it's inspired by Marseille. I think it's gorgeous. I almost cried yesterday evening pulling this card together with the Devil. The message I got was kind of believe in yourself kind of thing, and don't be so hard on yourself. Just follow that dream with a little bit more love, and yeah, just don't be too hard on yourself kind of thing. And it was nice to find this old friend again. It's really what it feels like. I took this deck with me to multiple destinations. I really love working with it, as you may know by now. So these are the things, the cards that have alternate cards that I have in the deck right now. It's Patrick Valenza's work, what I was trying to say. It's beautiful. It's also a lot of fun. There's a lot of humor in the deck. And then also the Marseille type pips are, in my opinion, easier to interpret because of the symbols that Patrick added. I think it really explains a lot what we're supposed to read and to see in the card. Yeah. I mean, you've all seen by now the illustrated version, which I have. I haven't warmed up to it yet, but that's really because I am curating this deck collection, the decks that I work with, and I'm enjoying myself way too much with these ones, with this one. This is my all-time favorite. So I cannot help but compare those two decks. Obviously, it's the same deck, but one of them is Marseille inspired and the other one is Rider-Waite-Smith inspired. And so basically, I really haven't worked with the illustrated one yet. As a tarot reader who really likes that essential kind of deck collection, you know, I just want decks that I love. If I only like them, it's not good enough usually. And I do tend to give decks a second and third chance, etc., before I decide to, well, either keep them because I did like them enough, fall in love with them enough, or I decide to let go of them. I could say that all of these extension packs and all of those I don't know, upgrades of tarot decks. They add to, what's that word? To the, just the noise, I guess. The noise of deck overwhelm, you know, and having too much choice these days almost. I feel sometimes having too much choice, it takes away from going in depth. I really love working with, well, not that many decks, because you really get to know them. You really get to actually read with them and hold them. And, you know, I think everybody's allowed to do whatever they want, obviously, but what I'm trying to stress in my videos really is how I feel, how I've experienced what works best for me. And I know, because I'm working with these decks so intensely at the moment, in the future I probably will get more decks and play around more. Obviously, we'll see, but that kind of sounds like something I would say. I'm not actually saying it because I don't think enough decks also give that option of, well, there's this upgrade, there's this second version. Actually, a lot of people, a lot of creators make the first version and then the second edition and the third edition, etc. And everything, every time it's just a little bit different, and it's just a little bit more of something that you might want even though you own the previous deck, you know, all of those things. And then extension packs, I'm not so much into that kind of stuff because I think there's enough out there. Although with my favorite deck, I just feel extremely spoiled. So you see, I see that there is something really fun and good, mostly fun, um, maybe also even valuable, why not, about having these extension packs and having all of these different options and a different version of a deck that you already own. I don't need the illustrated pips version. Obviously not. I already have the deck, but I did acquire it, and I think I might enjoy, as I keep saying, I still haven't done it, but I might enjoy putting in perhaps the illustrated version of the Three of Wands in this deck, and then set this one aside for a while and see how that reads. Could be fun to actually mix Rider-Waite-Smith and Marseille. But you know what? I'm not exactly saying that. I'm actually saying, I think Patrick Valenza, amongst other artists and tarot creators, tarot deck creators, is onto something with all of these extra options. Now, I don't read with the animal extension pack, with the beast pack. I am much more of a tarot girl anyway. Uh, but I think, you know, having the Bacchus option, putting that, mixing that into the deck and taking out the original Hierophant card, which should be named Pope, by the way. But, and are we gonna get a Juno and Jupiter? That would be cool. Anyway, this, it just makes the deck different every time. And maybe I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but tell me if you do the same with this deck or maybe another deck, or have a similar experience that you just keep switching out some cards and it feels different when reading it. I really appreciate the diving deep in that same deck. It's 78 cards all the time, except that I switch out one or two for the alternate cards. There's the star card. This one is my favorite one. But then there's also the astronomer card, which is the equivalent of the star card. There's this tower one, there's the house of God that I just showed you, and then also the beautiful, incredible, and powerful lightning card, which would be the same, Arcanum 16. There's this judgment, and then there's the other one with that angel, or half angel, half demon actually in this deck. To be able to switch up just a few of these cards every time or every so often, it's still the same tarot deck with the same energy, right? It's still your deck that you worked with, you laughed with it, you cried with it, you learned with it. It's still, it holds your energy. It's still your deck, but it's different, it's fresh. It's also, I feel it's actually refreshed. That energy, I do actually believe objects hold energy. especially things like spiritual tools like tarot decks. You know, you actually work with it. There's a lot of emotion involved. There's a lot of just very personal to you. There's different life stages and different experiences that are seeping into the deck, that are put into the deck. So it's just a magical tool to me. Yeah, psychological, spiritual, all of that. But I feel it keeps the deck fresh. So I'm wondering, because I'm so out of the loop, what other creators have this, and if you watching own one of those decks that do that, if you actually work with alternate cards or extra cards or any of that, and if you switch up the 78, what would that word be? The construction, the structure, maybe the structure of the deck. If you play with that, if you switch it up, and how does that feel? Does it add something to your readings? Is it just playing around? Is it just because it's there and you wouldn't care if it wasn't that way? Or does it annoy you, which would be actually my first thought? Like, can't it just be 78 cards and then you just learn all of them and that should be enough, right? It is enough, but this extra is just, it's really good what I'm saying. I'm having a blast. I think it's a really good call to actually have alternate cards, to have these options. You can switch up the structure of the deck without reaching for a whole other deck. It's still your deck, it's still the same deck. And if you're lucky like me, it's your favorite deck, number one deck that you love to work with. I kind of want to hear from you, because have I made my point? I'm not actually sure. It's just one of those days. I'm pretty sure I would enjoy having an alternate sun card or lover's card, or maybe even some courts that are different. I don't know. I think this deck still being the tarot deck, but expanding, and then I'm able to change according to what I think I need in a reading or how I feel. I like all the new devil cards. Some of them have a very, actually, all of the new ones have a very drag queen energy, which is a lot of fun. It's like a party. Yeah. And I think I kind of named them. I'm not sure, but I do remember this name, and I said that in the beginning. It's Miss Wormtail. Yeah, definitely. It's a queen, isn't it? Just look at that. Look at that spicy, spiky haircut or crown, of course. So I'm enjoying having that devil card in there. Here's another point, and then I'm done. Imagine having more alternate Thoth cards, because I had that Thoth deck with the 3 Magus cards, or Magi, anyway, and it was unnecessary in my collection, so I sold it. But imagine having access in card form in the decks that are sold to that other artwork that Lady Frida Harris did, and that wasn't approved by Crowley, because she made different cards. It wasn't just the Magus. She made different court cards. There's the Prince of Wands that has different versions. I think there would just be so much to look at. And even though to me the Crowley deck, or the Thoth deck is good the way it is, I think that Magician card actually is the best one. It could be fun to, like I say, have alternate cards. Yeah, I mean, this is also just a historical deck to me, because all of those old versions of cards, different depictions of cards, just part of the history of the deck. And I think it would be cool to just be able to take a look at it and maybe sometimes even work with those cards. That could be so much fun. just imagine a different priestess card. I don't know if she ever made a different card or that's known, but it could be so cool. Yeah, I think that's enough rambling for today. Let me know what you think. This was just a thought that I wanted to share, and as I said, maybe start a discussion. Are you pro alternate cards or maybe against it? Because, well, the reason that I would have is there's enough choice already, so stop being fancy and just give us 78 cards. Maybe there's another reason that you can think of. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next week.